You know, Yetta, one wise decision can change everything.
Well, let's make it count.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
We are honored that for over 35 years, we've been able to come alongside you, not only selling, buying, and investing in real estate over 3,117 times, coming alongside you to build your fund, build your faith, build your fitness, and your finances. And of course, strengthen, heal, and flourish inside of relationship. Discovery. I love the Discovery Channel. I feel like we get to do that every single week. We're going to discover the optimal value of an informed choice as to whether now is the time to buy or whether now is the time to wait.
Yes. I think highly informed choices, decisions is so important because when you have that confidence and you have the competence, because the competence comes from the informed, right? Then your results are way better.
They work out, right?
Yeah, you tend not to have as much buyer's remorse or regret. Like regret is what we want to avoid, but buyer's remorse can happen.
Because it's a big decision. It's a big deal.
Yeah, you question yourself. Did I do the right thing?
Was it the right time? Was it the right property? Was it the right amount of money? Was it the right closing? Was it?
Yeah, but the more informed and confident you are, the less of all that goes on. And the more you can celebrate your decision of moving forward.
Yeah, and I think even if you're going to go down the path of buyer's remorse, and I've experienced it once and it was awful, the more informed, and I was not informed. I thought I was, and I wasn't. So therefore, the buyer's remorse lasted longer. I think the more informed, the more we've researched, the more we've thought through, the more we've pondered, the more we've prayed, the more we've asked for wise counsel from a few select people that are the right wise counsel, the shorter lived buyer's remorse will be, or we might not have it at all. But we won't have the tumultuousness that lingers. So, yeah, we don't want that.
No.
And here's the cool thing.
What's the cool thing?
Well, there's so many cool things. When you do
You're cool.
Thank you. When you do your research, have you ever noticed that when you do the research that's needed to feel confidence, like Ken was talking about, feel competent and confidence in your decision making and in the choices available before you, that you see different opportunities? You actually see things and can seize an opportunity that you couldn't if you hadn't done the advance work.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is you see the potential for risk and you can mitigate it, and also you can plan for it. So it just makes a wiser journey towards, well, building wealth wisely, right?
And building wealth wisely, it's about much more than the money. And that's why we don't just talk about the money. And yet money touches every aspect of our life. We can't eat if we don't have it. Yeah. So it affects everything.
When we got married, we didn't have money, but we had love. We said we could live on love, but then I realized, no, I want food too.
Yeah, and you know, as many of you know, if you've been listening to Life's Inside Track for any period of time, we didn't have a nice, smooth start.
No.
It was a rough start, and it wasn't till we got all the areas of our life, including finances, into alignment.
Yeah, we didn't need to take fine sandpaper to take off the edges. We didn't even need to use coarse sandpaper to take off the edges. We needed a grinder to grind off our edges so that we could mesh together. And it took a while.
It did, a decade. Anyway, if you don't want it to take a decade and you want to consider, even if you're feeling skeptical about the whole building wealth wisely through real estate, I do too, then join us. There's still a little time to get your ticket for September 25th. Just go to the dekkerteam.com website, and we would love to have you in the room, even if you're there, to prove us wrong.
Yep.
It's good. It's a healthy debate may actually be part of the research that you need to do to know if you're making a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like
one of our best clients who's made a wealthy life out of real estate, she was a skeptic and she came to prove us wrong.
Yeah. And she read the book, The Wealth Formula, to prove us wrong. She attended the wealth building workshop because she was almost forced to, or the pastor wouldn't marry them. She then reluctantly even rebought a home, meaning she'd owned real estate before, but had gone through a very tumultuous downturn, like a couple of bankruptcies. And so she came and eventually said, fine, I'll do it, to her husband, almost like that, I think, to prove him and us wrong. And yet it's worked out pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Because she's been prepared.
Yep. So one story recently is we helped a client. They wanted their dream home. And one of the things they had to do was let go of their perceived value of what their property was worth. They originally thought it was worth $575. And I went and I said, we can maybe push it to $550. So we listed at $550. And after a few weeks, the feedback, we just weren't getting an offer, right? We were getting some showings, but not an offer. And their dream home was sitting there on the market as well. That was getting activity and they didn't want to lose it. So what's the true value of their property? Well, it's what a buyer's willing to pay.
Well, it's what the market will bear.
Right. So they put it at $499 and within a week we had it sold and they were able to buy their dream property at a fair price and get lots of repairs done on it that we
did
put
good on
into
that
the agreement.
Yep.
And the point here is their perceived value was not market value, and they had to let go of that to actually move ahead.
And maybe you're like that. You're thinking, but I don't want to. Well, let's just at least have a dialogue around it, because ultimately the market does tell us the truth. Whether we want to receive it or not, the market will always tell us the truth. And the interesting thing is your best financial outcomes, your best life outcomes and financial outcomes will pretty much always come at the corner or the intersection of patience and preparedness.
That's deep. Say that again.
Patience and preparedness is the corner or the intersection where those two meet, at which you will have pretty much assured financial and life success and great outcomes.
I agree. So create your plan to be optimally prepared and positioned about making the best move for you and your family. And we're thrilled that you joined us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.